They built homes, raised children, and believed their world would last forever. But every great civilization carries a hidden moment when everything begins to change. These were not just ruins. They were the homes of real people. People who laughed, dreamed, worked, and hoped for tomorrow. Until one day, their future became uncertain. History remembers their cities, but rarely remembers their names. Their stories survived only through stones, bones, and fragments. But those fragments reveal something powerful. Before civilizations disappear, people always leave behind memories. And those memories tell us how a world can be lost. For generations, these people built something extraordinary. Their cities became symbols of human ambition. Their children grew up believing this world would always exist. They could never imagine becoming the last generation. Because civilizations rarely disappear in a single moment. Their endings often begin with small changes. A harvest that failed, a river that changed, a world becoming harder. And ordinary people carried the weight of those changes. The greatest tragedies are often lived quietly. Long before the final ruins appeared, the people felt something was changing. The final chapter of their world had already begun. But they still held on to hope. Because hope is what survives when everything else begins to fall. But history would remember their civilization differently. Not as a living world, but as a mystery. A mystery waiting thousands of years to be uncovered. Every artifact carries a piece of someone's forgotten life. Every ruined street once carried human footsteps. And every fallen empire began with people just like us. To understand their disappearance, we must first understand their lives. Every civilization begins with a dream of creating something permanent. For these people, their homeland was more than a place. It was their identity, their history, and their future. The strongest cities were built by ordinary hands. Farmers, builders, artists, and workers created their golden age. But golden ages can hide fragile foundations. A civilization depends on countless things working together. When one piece breaks, the entire world can begin to shift. The first signs were often invisible to those living through them. They could not see history changing beneath their feet. The final generation inherited a world already beginning to fade. Yet they continued living ordinary lives. They celebrated, loved, and remembered those who came before. Their world was disappearing, but their humanity remained. Then came the pressures they could no longer ignore. Resources became harder to find. Stability became harder to keep. Some families searched for a way forward. Others stayed, hoping the old world would return. Every person faced the same impossible question. Should they fight for their home, or search for another future? The collapse of a civilization is also a story of choices. Some decisions saved lives, others changed history forever. But no one knew they were living through the ending. The greatest changes often arrive quietly, until suddenly, the world they knew was gone. The homes they built became places they could no longer return to. The streets that once carried voices became silent. Their final memories disappeared beneath time. But the people themselves were never truly forgotten. Because every fallen civilization leaves behind a human story. They worried about the next harvest. They celebrated weddings. They mourned loved ones. They made plans for years that would never come. In many ways, they were no different from us. We build homes, we chase dreams, we believe the places we love will always be there. We rarely imagine that history can change within a single lifetime. Yet every civilization that once seemed eternal eventually reached a moment when ordinary people had to face extraordinary change. That is why their story still matters today. Because beneath the ruins, beneath the broken walls and forgotten monuments, we do not simply discover the past, we discover ourselves.